These are my predictions for the map veto of the lower round 2 matches. And first up, we've got XLG versus Leviathan. And I think for XLG's map veto, I think there are reasonably two options, I would say, probably. Like, I think it's gonna be between Pearl and Haven, since these are their two worst maps. And I think Pearl has looked like their weakest map, so I think it makes sense for XIG to ban out Pearl. For Lev, then, on the other hand, I think they are gonna pick Split since it is their best map, and it's not a great map for XLG, so that works out great for Lev. And so they should start out with a win on that map. And then for Lev's map bans, I think it's gonna be between the three worst maps, so Breeze, Fracture, or Lotus realistically. And I think the weakest one is clearly Breeze, and it's quite a good map for XIG, so that should work out great for Lev to ban Breeze. And then I think XIG would pick Lotus probably. I still, even though XIG has now been beaten quite a bit on Lotus, like first NRG beat them, then G2 beat them, and now even EDG beat them when they looked really insane on Lotus and their comp looked kind of unbeatable. Now it looks very much beatable, but I still think Lev haven't looked great at all on that map, so XIG should be fine. Surely, right? Surely I'm not gonna fall for it again. And surely XIG is not gonna fall for it again. But I don't know. I think XIG are likely gonna pick it. If I'm being honest, I would probably prefer for XIG to pick Fracture here instead of Lotus. But I just think they are gonna pick Lotus, and yeah, I'm still gonna believe that XIG are gonna win just because I've not seen anything promising from Lev's Lotus, so I think XIG should take it. And then in the second rotation of bans, I think it's very straightforward. Lev are gonna ban Fracture, since it's their worst out of the remaining. XIG are gonna ban Haven since it's the worst out of their remaining. And that would leave us with Ascent. And I think Ascent is gonna be a banger. XIG has looked really good on Ascent versus G2. I think Lev overall has looked really good on Ascent, apart from when they got destroyed by Pepper X. But yeah, I think it should be a banger map. I think it should be close. And I've only given it to Lev because honestly, I mean, we've seen more from Lev on that map. So I've seen more from Lev to believe in on that map. We've seen like more different plays from Lev, like different set strats, different things that I've shown. And from XIG, just due to them only playing it once, we haven't seen a lot. Which doesn't mean that they can't have depth on a map, but they aren't as used to it. So I think that should be an advantage for Lev. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a 2-1 for Lev, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if it ends up being a 2-1 for XLG. And then in the second match, we've got Vitality versus Foot. And first up for Vitality's bans, I think they have three options on what to ban. And I think their options are either Ascent, Fracture, or Haven, since these three maps are kind of Vitality's weak maps, I would say. And I've gone with Vitality banning Haven. I think their Fracture doesn't make sense to ban versus Foot, since Foot aren't great on that map. Plus Vitality won the last time round they played in Swiss stage. So I've gone with Vitality banning Haven, since the last time round they played, Foot destroyed Vitality on Haven. So I think it makes sense for them to ban it. And that would leave Foot with picking Ascent, which was banned by Vitality the last time round. So yeah, I think Foot will be happy with that, and I think Foot are gonna win on that map. And then for Foot's map ban, on the other hand, I think realistically it's gotta be between Pearl and Split, since these are Foot's worst maps and they're both great maps for Vitality. and I've gone with Foot banning Pearl since last time around they lost versus Foot. Uh, since last time around they lost versus Vitality on Pearl, but I could imagine Foot banning out Split instead since they only lost 13-11 on Pearl in the Swiss stage. So maybe they think, look, if we just fix a little bit, maybe then we can beat Vitality on a map. But yeah, I would prefer for Foot to ban Paul, and then Vitality would likely pick Split, and I think Vitality are gonna win. I think it's gonna happen on regardless on which of the two ends up going through. But yeah, that's my thoughts on these two maps. And then in the second rotation of map bans, I think for Foot they have got to ban out Lotus. They haven't looked great on that map, and it's a really good map for Vitality. So getting rid of that would be great for Foot. And then for Vitality, between Breeze and Fracture, even though last time round, as I've said, Vitality won versus Foot on that map, it was a close win, and they just got beaten by Pepper X on that map. So they don't have a lot of practice on that map and are 1-1. And even though it's not a great map for Foot, I think Vitality overall has looked better on Breeze. They have more practice on Breeze, like they've got 11 games on a map. So clearly that map should be better for Vitality, and Foot doesn't have a lot of practice on a map, so I think Vitality should be really happy if Breeze were the deciding map, and I think Vitality are gonna take it, and it's gonna be a 2-1 for Vitality again, just as it was in the Swiss stage. But let me know what you guys think. With which of these picks do you agree, and with which do you disagree? And then we're gonna see each other again, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days, I don't know when, for the upper final and lower round 3 matches.